They attacked a human outpost. Earth silenced them by wiping out their homeworld. For the humans stationed here, this was not a glamorous assignment. It was quiet, routine, and completely forgotten by the galaxy. Yet that quiet made it the perfect vantage point. Captain Myra Solari stood on the observation deck of the main station, her eyes scanning the starfield. The outpost was small, almost insignificant compared to the sprawling megastructures of alien civilizations, but that was precisely its strength. The humans here had learned to use minimal resources in maximum efficiency. Every sensor, every shield, every crew member's role was calculated to the smallest detail. "They're moving faster than usual," Lieutenant Curran noted, his fingers flying over the holographic console. The sensors blinked and hummed, tracking multiple fast-moving vessels converging on their location. Myra narrowed her eyes. "How many?" "Too many," Curran said quietly. "Not a fight we can win outright." The Zintri had come. They were a proud, technologically advanced species known across multiple sectors. Their ships were elegant, deadly, and designed to overwhelm opponents quickly. The humans here had no chance in a straight fight. Myra felt the familiar adrenaline pulse through her veins, not fear but clarity. "Then we don't fight straight," she said. "We do what humans do best." Curran looked at her. "What's that?" "Think," she said simply. Outsmart and survive. That's always been our way." The first Zintri ship entered the outpost sensor range. Its sleek silver hull reflected the light of nearby stars. A voice crackled over the human comm channels, translated in seconds by the universal translator. "Human Outpost X-14, the Zintri voice said, smooth and confident. "Surrender. Resistance is meaningless." Myra's lips pressed together in a thin line. She had expected arrogance. The Zintri were never humble. She raised her hand, signaling the defensive teams. "Deploy the decoys," she ordered. "Activate the electromagnetic nets. Prepare the relay signals." The humans moved like a single organism. Shield emitters hummed to life, sending faint ripples across the station's exterior. Small drones zipped from compartment to compartment, ready to create diversions. Every crew member knew their role perfectly, honed through years of preparation for moments like this. The Zintri fleet pressed forward. Their numbers were intimidating. Hundreds of ships, each bristling with energy weapons, surrounded the outpost. To an outsider, it would have seemed hopeless. Yet the humans did not panic. "Launching decoy satellites," Curran announced. Tiny spheres shot out from hidden bays, reflecting the starfield and making multiple false images of the station. The Zintri hesitated. Their sensors detected dozens of targets. Which one was real? Which one held the humans? It was difficult to tell. Myra didn't wait. "Begin Phase 1. Signal the Council." Somewhere far away on Earth, the Council of Command monitored quantum relays. They had predicted this attack. The Zintri had underestimated human foresight. As the outpost on X-14 engaged the enemy, Earth quietly prepared its response. It would be swift, precise, and devastating, but not in the way the Zintri expected. Back at the outpost, the first volleys of Zintri energy beams streaked toward the station. The shields flared, absorbing the initial impact. Debris floated harmlessly in orbit, broken drones acting as additional confusion for the attackers. "Adjust the shield frequency," Myra ordered. "Focus on the upper arrays. Let them waste their shots on the wrong targets." The humans had built their defenses not for brute strength, but for efficiency. The Zintri, used to overwhelming force, were confused by human subtlety. Every move the humans made was calculated to make the attackers doubt themselves. From the bridge, Curran's voice trembled slightly. "Captain, they're changing formation. Looks like they're preparing to land boarding teams." Myra's eyes flicked to the screen showing small craft detaching from the main ships. "Good," she said. "Let them come. We'll be ready." Within minutes, the first Zintri boarding pods approached the station. But instead of opening fire directly, The humans activated magnetic pulses, sending the pods spinning harmlessly into space. Automated counter-drones intercepted the rest, herding them away from the main station. The aliens were frustrated. Their confidence began to falter. "Why aren't they panicking?" one Zintri officer growled. "They should be begging for mercy." Myra watched the viewports as the Zintri scrambled. She did not smile. There was no joy in this. But she felt the quiet satisfaction of control. Humans had a reputation in the galaxy for resilience, and moments like this reinforced it. "Phase 2, she said. "Send the encoded signal." A bright pulse shot into deep space, hidden inside layers of quantum encryption. To anyone intercepting it, it would appear as a routine distress signal. To those who understood, it was a trap and a lure. The Zintri detected the signal immediately and misinterpreted it. "They're calling reinforcements," a commander said. "We need to strike harder now." Myra shook her head. "They think they understand humans," she muttered. "They never do." Hours passed in a tense dance. The Zintri fired and maneuvered, the humans blocked and countered. But the battle was not about destruction. It was about patience. Every move by the humans was designed to draw the enemy deeper into a calculated position. Finally, the Zintri fleet pulled back slightly, believing the outpost was weakening. They did not know that Earth's hidden fleet had already entered the system undetected, positioned in secret. Myra activated the final phase. "Prepare for Phase 3, she ordered. The crew members knew what this meant: observation, control, and precision. The humans did not intend to fight the Zintri directly. They intended to show the galaxy their reach. In orbit above the moon, a single display flickered, showing Earth's fleet moving into position. The Zintri, unaware, were about to learn a lesson in humility. Myra turned to Curran, her expression calm. "Remember this moment. They think they are victorious. Soon, they will learn that humans never forget, and humans never forgive when tested." Curran swallowed, nodding. There was fear, yes, but also pride. Pride in a species that had survived impossible odds countless times before. Pride in humans who could turn the tables without raising a single finger in violence beyond necessity. And then, as the Zintri prepared for their next move, a quiet voice came over the comm channel, translated into human language. "Humans, this is the Zintri commander. Surrender now. Your defenses are impressive, but resistance is futile." Myra smiled faintly. "Impressive, yes. Futile, that remains to be seen." Hours turned into a tense night. Both sides waited, calculated, and maneuvered, but only the humans knew the true scope of what was coming. The galaxy had underestimated them once again. From her vantage point, Myra could see the stars beyond the station, infinite and serene. She thought of Earth, quiet and distant, and of the fleet that waited, invisible and ready. Humans had a way of turning the smallest outpost into a beacon of power. And the Zintri, arrogant and unaware, were about to discover just how wrong they had been. As the night deepened, the outpost held firm. Every sensor, every shield, every human was in perfect synchrony. They did not fight for glory or conquest. They fought for survival, for principle, for the quiet certainty that humans could rise to any challenge. Somewhere in the darkness of space, the first signs of Earth's hidden fleet blinked faintly on long-range sensors. The Zintri did not see it yet, but soon, very soon, the full weight of humanity's ingenuity would reach them. And when it did, no one in the galaxy would ever underestimate humans again. The Zintri commander, proud and overconfident, believed the humans on Outpost X-14 were merely stubborn. They had seen resistance before. They had crushed worlds, dismantled defenses, and erased threats that dared oppose them. This outpost, they thought, would be just another addition to their victories. But humans did not fight like anyone expected. High above the Zintri homeworld, far beyond the range of their sensors, Earth's fleet moved with silent precision. Sleek vessels, hidden by cloaking fields and electromagnetic masking, positioned themselves in orbit around key points of the Scifi planetary system. Hundreds of ships worked in perfect coordination, but no one on the planet could detect them. On the bridge of the lead command ship, Admiral Vaden observed the sector with a mixture of frustration and disbelief. "Where is the human fleet?" he demanded. "They can't have matched our speed. They should be visible by now." Lieutenant Korax, his second-in-command, shook his head. "Admiral, if reports are correct, they are here, but we cannot detect them. It's as if they are everywhere and nowhere at the same time." Vaden scowled. "Impossible. No species can reach this level of stealth." "No species." Back at Outpost X-14, Captain Myra watched the distant horizon of space. The Scifi had pulled back slightly after hours of failed attacks, believing they had exhausted the humans' defenses. They did not know that every movement they made had already been observed, recorded, and predicted by Earth. "Phase 2 is ready," Myra said calmly. "Stand by for signal." Curran's hands hovered over the controls, eyes wide with anticipation. "Are you sure we should send it?" "This is what lures them deeper into." "Yes," Myra interrupted. "Trust the plan. Humans have never failed when patience guides the strategy." With a press of a button, a hidden quantum pulse surged through space. Unlike the first signal, this one was not merely encoded distress. It was a calculated message designed to mislead, manipulate, and trap. The Scifi fleet picked it up immediately. Sensors flashed warnings, readings spiked, and the crew scrambled to decipher the signal. The message appeared to indicate a critical vulnerability in the human outpost, a bait that the Scifi could not resist. "They are weak here," a Scifi officer reported. "This is the chance we've been waiting for. Deploy strike teams immediately." Vaden gritted his teeth. "Do it. We cannot allow humans to gain an upper hand." The Scifi moved like predators closing in on an injured prey. Hundreds of ships descended into the outpost sector, preparing boarding teams, energy strikes, and tactical maneuvers. They believed they were about to crush a fledgling species that dared oppose them. Meanwhile, from the shadows of space, the Earth fleet began its silent work. Each ship positioned itself over a specific target: orbital defense stations, energy grids, communications hubs. Not one laser fired, not a single missile launched, yet the humans had already demonstrated dominance. The first shock came when the Scifi's orbiting weapons platforms suddenly shut down without warning. Communications flickered, sensors failed, and previously impenetrable shields went dark. Scifi officers stared at the readouts in disbelief. How is this possible?" a young officer whispered. "It's as if the systems themselves obey them." "They are everywhere," Vaden said, his voice tight. "Impossible. How can a species reach such capability?" On Outpost X-14, Myra and her crew monitored every movement. "Phase 2 is working perfectly," she said. "They don't realize the scale yet. Patience. Wait for the right moment." The Scifi tried to regain control. Ships darted across the system, attempting to reconnect power lines, reboot servers, and restore their orbital grid. Every action was met with countermeasures they could not see, a masterful display of control and anticipation. Systems failed, one by one. Ships floated uselessly in orbit. Strike teams were unable to leave their carriers. "The humans are controlling everything," one officer muttered, panic creeping into his voice. "How can they do this?" From Earth, Admiral Vaden, no, not the Scifi Vaden, Admiral Lyra Vaden watched the operation unfold. Every move of the Scifi was predicted, countered, and contained. The humans were not using brute force. They were using intelligence, patience, and precision. "They believe they are attacking us," she said softly, "but they are trapped, and they do not know it yet." The Scifi tried diplomacy, but humans did not respond with anger. Instead, a calm, almost clinical message came from the outpost. "You attacked our people. You assumed weakness. You assumed impunity. You leave us no choice. Retreat immediately or face permanent isolation." The message spread through the Scifi communication network. Panic erupted. For the first time, the Zintri felt fear, not of death, not of injury, but of complete incapacitation. Their homeworld, normally a fortress of technology and energy, now seemed fragile and vulnerable. Vaden barked orders. Do whatever it takes to regain control. Do not let them manipulate us. But every action was anticipated. Every attempt to fight back was countered silently. The humans did not need to destroy anything. They simply neutralized the system's infrastructure with surgical precision, showing the Zintri exactly how fragile their perceived superiority really was. On the outpost, Myra observed the chaos. Phase 3, she said. Time to finish this lesson. Curran looked nervous. Captain, we can't actually. Yes, we can, Myra said. We don't destroy lives, we destroy assumptions. That is what humans do best. The final phase began. Across the Zintri system, power grids were isolated. Ships drifted in orbit, immobilized but unharmed. Communications were disrupted across the planet. The Zintri could not call for reinforcements. They were silenced without a single catastrophic strike. The galaxy watched in awe. Signals intercepted by neighboring civilizations showed something impossible. A species thought weak had neutralized a far stronger opponent using only intelligence, planning, and patience. On the Zintri homeworld, panic spread. Citizens and soldiers alike stared at their screens, realizing that their weapons, their shields, their systems, all of their technological pride, were useless. They could neither leave nor defend. The humans had done what no other species could. In orbit above the planet, Earth's fleet maintained silent control. Not a single shot fired, not a single life lost. And yet the message was clear. Humans were unstoppable when underestimated. Myra's voice was calm as she observed the system. They think retreat is victory. They will learn that there is no retreat from humans' foresight, and the galaxy will remember this moment. Hours passed. The Zintri scrambled to understand their predicament. Their once proud fleets drifted, inactive, immobilized by humans who did not need brute force. Messages pleading for negotiation came, but humans responded not with anger but with measured authority. You attacked our outpost. You endangered our people. You assumed superiority. Now you are powerless. We offer terms. Accept responsibility, acknowledge human strategy, and you may retain your world. The Zintri could not refuse. Their pride demanded acknowledgement. Their survival demanded compliance. They had been shown the true reach of humanity, and they could not hide from it. Elsewhere in the galaxy, species that had observed the conflict began to whisper. Humans, long underestimated, had demonstrated something profound. Patience over aggression, intelligence over force. Strategy over technology alone, and most importantly, humans had done it all without unnecessary destruction, without cruelty, and without proving themselves through bloodshed. Myra turned to Curran. This is what we are, Curran, not just survivors, not just explorers. Humans are patience, intelligence, and precision, and the galaxy will never underestimate us again. Curran nodded slowly, awe in his eyes. It's incredible. We didn't fight them directly. And yet, Myra finished, we won, not through power but through wisdom. That is the human way. The Zintri, humbled and silent, began their slow process of compliance. Orders were given, systems were reactivated under Earth's watchful eye, and messages were sent to the rest of the galaxy. Humanity was not to be challenged. And above it all, Captain Myra looked to the stars and smiled faintly. The outpost, small and seemingly insignificant, had become the stage for a galactic lesson in humility. The humans had survived. The humans had triumphed. And the galaxy, for the first time, truly saw what humanity could do when underestimated. The Zintri homeworld was quiet. For the first time in recorded history, the once proud species could not raise their voices in pride. Their fleets were immobilized, communications scrambled, and critical systems under human oversight. And yet, no cities had burned. No lives had been lost on a mass scale. The humans had silenced them not through destruction, but through mastery of strategy and patience. Captain Myra Solari stood on the observation deck of Outpost X-14, her eyes scanning the distant blue planet of Earth. The hidden fleet that had enforced this outcome hovered in geosynchronous orbit around the Zentry system, invisible to the enemy below, yet fully capable of intervention if needed. Lieutenant Curran, pacing behind her, broke the silence. "Captain, I still can't believe it. They attacked us and yet we didn't destroy them, not truly, and they are listening." Myra nodded slowly. "Humans do not fight just to destroy. We fight to protect, to survive, and to teach. We've given them a lesson in humility. And if they remember it, they will change their ways." The Zentry sent their first formal communication in weeks. A message, carefully worded and trembling with cautious respect, appeared across the human fleet's screens. "We acknowledge our miscalculation. We underestimated humans. We submit to your guidance and request terms for peace." For the humans, this was not a moment of celebration. It was a moment of clarity. They had won, not through anger or force, but through foresight and strategy. And now the galaxy would remember. Earth's Admiral Lyra Vaden addressed the fleet. "Prepare for negotiations," she said. "But remember, humans do not forgive carelessly. We offer peace, but we will enforce respect." The terms of peace. The Zentry representatives arrived in orbit around Outpost X-14. Their ships, once symbols of arrogance, now floated humbly, systems restricted by the subtle control humans still held. The alien delegation was met not with hostility, but with calm authority. Myra greeted them personally, standing straight, her expression composed. "Your attacks endangered humans and assumed impunity. You will make amends. We will guide you in ensuring this never happens again. If you cooperate, no further action will be necessary." The Zentry commander bowed slightly, a gesture of respect never before seen from his species. "We understand. Humans are remarkable. We will comply with your terms. We seek guidance." The terms were simple but firm. The Zentry would cease all attacks on human outposts and colonies. They would share intelligence on hostile threats in the sector with humans. Human advisors would be allowed to observe and assist in the restructuring of key Zentry systems, ensuring their species could recover safely. Any future aggression would be met with immediate human intervention. The Zentry accepted without hesitation. Their pride was humbled but their survival intact. This was humanity's way. Show strength, enforce peace, but do not needlessly destroy. The ripple effect across the galaxy. News of the Zentry capitulation spread quickly, first in whispers among star traders, then across the communications network of galactic civilizations. The story was remarkable. A species considered weak, young, and inexperienced had neutralized a far stronger opponent without firing a single destructive missile at cities or populations. Reports detailed how humans had used strategy, patience, and intelligence to outmaneuver a technologically superior foe. Scholars, diplomats, and military leaders across countless worlds marveled at the human approach. "It is unprecedented," one alien ambassador remarked to another. "We expected annihilation. Instead, we see restraint and power combined." On Earth, news outlets broadcast carefully curated accounts of the conflict. Citizens cheered silently at the display of human brilliance. Governments in other star systems began to approach Earth with new respect, some cautiously, others with admiration. Captain Myra watched these reports with a quiet smile. "Humans are not just survivors," she said. "We are innovators, strategists, and protectors. This is our moment." Outpost X-14. A symbol of human ingenuity back at the outpost itself, life returned to a calm rhythm. Sensors remained active, communications monitored, but the tension that had gripped the crew for weeks had eased. The small outpost had transformed from a forgotten station to a symbol, a beacon of human ingenuity and capability. Lieutenant Curran wandered the observation deck, looking out at the stars. "It's incredible," he said. "We were a small outpost. We had minimal defenses. And yet we've changed the course of a species. The galaxy, it's looking at us differently now." Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, and that is the human way. We do not seek to dominate through fear. We do not destroy recklessly. We rise with intelligence, patience, and courage. Other species may learn that lesson too late, but we will never forget it." The crew shared quiet pride. Each member knew they had played a vital role. Not one human life had been lost unnecessarily, yet every action had reinforced the species' reputation across the stars. The Zentri adjust to new reality on their homeworld. The Zentri began a slow process of reconstruction. Their leaders implemented human advice, reorganized their fleets under Earth's supervision, and integrated new protocols to prevent reckless attacks in the future. The once arrogant species had learned humility. Young Zentri engineers watched the human systems in awe. "They do not need to destroy us to win," one whispered. "They are perfect strategists." "Yes," another replied. "We have underestimated them for too long. Never again." This respect, earned not through fear but through demonstrated intelligence, echoed throughout the galaxy. The humans had reshaped not only one species' behavior, but also how others perceived them. Humanity's expansion and influence, with the Zentri subdued but unharmed, Earth quietly expanded its influence across nearby systems. Outposts were established not as militaristic forts, but as centers of trade, exploration, and observation. Humans shared technology, knowledge, and communication protocols with species willing to cooperate. The galaxy began to see humans as a stabilizing force. Where other species relied on brute force or intimidation, humans demonstrated that intelligence, patience, and strategy could achieve the same results, sometimes even more effectively. Captain Myra returned to Earth briefly, welcomed as a hero but careful not to boast. She addressed a council meeting. "The galaxy will not forget this moment, but remember, our strength is not in weapons or fleets alone. Our strength lies in our minds, our unity, and our resolve. We do not conquer for glory, we protect for survival. That is the true measure of humanity." Her words were broadcast to countless systems. Across the stars, the message was clear. Humanity had arrived. The HFY moment months later, the humans observed the Zentri voluntarily implementing reforms. Trade agreements were made. Defense pacts signed. Humans had not demanded subjugation. They had demonstrated superiority without cruelty. In the council chambers of Earth, Myra reflected on the journey. "We were underestimated," she said quietly. "They believed us weak. They attacked us for a test of power. And we answered with patience, strategy, and restraint. That is what it means to be human." The galaxy had witnessed it all. The species that once mocked humanity now treated them with cautious respect and admiration. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were masters of strategy, protectors of the innocent, and a force the galaxy could not ignore. Even young cadets in Earth space academies spoke of Outpost X-14 as a legend. "It was a small station," one said, "but it proved that humans, even at their smallest, can outthink, outlast, and outmaneuver the most powerful species in the galaxy." The Zentri ambassador, now an ally, summed it up best in a communication to Earth. "Humans, you have shown us that true strength lies not in destruction but in wisdom. We will never forget this lesson." And in that moment, humanity stood taller than ever, not through violence, not through fear, but through intelligence, patience, and unwavering resolve. The galaxy had been reminded, humans are unpredictable, humans are clever, humans are capable of brilliance beyond expectation, and humans are unstoppable when underestimated. Captain Myra Solari looked out at the stars, the silent expanse of space, and smiled. Humanity had survived, humanity had triumphed, and the galaxy now knew the truth. Never underestimate a human.